Live. My man, what is when you're leading the NFT conversation, what do you lead with?
Yeah, I mean, it's just these days we have so many NFT projects coming out, so it's very important to stand out. And what I like to do is first thing, like when I work with an NFT project, is really get clear on the messaging. So, for example, San Vegas Casino Club, like one of the projects that sold out in 20 hours, actually, the messaging was the house always wins. You can be the house. And so it's really important to have something like that. That's I like it to say if you can to have it like a one liner to have that, and then and of course you have to have like amazing utilities, like amazing benefits with your project, whether it be it like staking, DAO, play to earn games. Let's say like you get to meet with like cool celebrities, exclusive membership to specific places, so on and so forth. So there's certain things just like at the core. I like projects to have before even just do any marketing. Like they need to actually be great.
I think that's probably some of the most understated alpha of all of crypto. Like like
Right.
people are so good at hyping up, but there's no real substance behind it. And
Right.
that it's so interesting. Like why would you ever spend so much time and effort trying to hype something up if there's nothing to really hype up? Like I
Yeah,
don't
and
get
it's
that.
really hard to hype it up too, especially now. Maybe it was easy, let's say last year, and maybe like it definitely was easier, I would say last year, and now like if you just have like a derivative of some animal, and that's like everywhere, and then like that's your PFP project, and you have zero utility. I mean, good luck. Like it's really bad. So
have have we reached and maybe we're like in it right now,
yeah.
but like with NFTs, the shitcoin version of NFTs, like with these PFPs that are just like weird derivatives of the ones that were successful that have just zero utility and just people are trying to get rich mad fast, and they're just like, okay, random name generator from the
Yeah.
successful ones. Like, is that
Yeah.
where we are?
Honestly, I think so. And like I'm hearing from some of the founders that I respect too, like they say like, it's really hard to raise the floor price. Let's just do another one. You know what I mean? And it's like it's really bad. It's terrible. We're gonna go to hell. Like it's awful. You know what I mean? So I think it's just one of those things. It's like I think is what's missing in this industry is just that people. I mean, we want an instant gratification to begin with, right? So it's already so quick, and they want it even faster. Like it's already like so fast. I mean, I don't know what else you're expecting. You know what I mean? So in like I worked for almost 10 years in marketing, and there's some small businesses that we would just so like I as their marketer, and especially at the beginning, I would maybe promise them, let's say if it's like a startup, I would say in 6 months, a year, you're gonna make money, right? And then even then, sometimes like you don't make money into like 2 years into this, and then and you're still going and you're still like putting all your effort like day and night, as an entrepreneur. And then now these guys like they coming in 6 weeks, they made like $5 million, and they're like I don't know if I want to spend time again, like working with my community. It's like too much work. It's like really like, are you serious? So yeah.
Yeah, so you spend all that time helping them market it, and it's like, I mean, do you see it as when you have a monster launch like that, that should just be the beginning, right? That should just be like, okay, we just launched a mega project. We just made serious bank. Now we can start really investing to do some cool stuff with our community,
Yeah,
right?
really, and just delivering on promises. And so like in the past, I wasn't really vetting, people that I was working with. So I remember a lot of times at the beginning, it was just like people would just say, the whole idea of marketing was all the way until they sell out. There was like literally no conversation about what's happening after that because there wasn't anything after that. Like literally, they didn't think about it. And then, but now, obviously, I'm really careful because But first of all, like hopefully they're not a rug pull, but also the other side of the thing is that if you sell out and you have like, let's say, a huge community of hand papers, and then they're not really there, they don't really like your project, they kind of like, you're like, well, it's just like, it's okay, like it's one of those things we're just gonna hold and flip, and it's just like mediocre kind of affinity toward your mission and your roadmap, everything. It's actually really hard to raise floor price. So then that's what happens when the like project owners, they're just like, oh, like 2 days I wasn't on Discord, my floor price like dropped, right? And it's really true, like it happens, right? So they need to be there. And so I think it's really important to just think about certain things that just truly going to make people interested from the top, and then also past that sellout. Meaning, like, there's a reason why I need to, as a holder, I need to hold your NFT, right? So even if let's say if it's a game, right? So if I play it and then the character is just like leveled up, and then now maybe even like there's some NFTs where like if you level up now you can actually sell it, rent the character, or do cool things with that NFT. So that's fine. But then let's say I like conquered the whole game, I'm done, right? Is there anything else, or is this is it? Like, if there's nothing else, I mean, you're bound to like just sell it right at that point. Like, there's no reason why I need to hold that NFT, right? So I think things like that is very important. And the interesting part is that a lot of projects are not into that stage of actually delivering. There are a lot of majority of projects are in the state of just hyping up, and like fewer projects are actually in that state of, okay, we delivered like maybe phase 3 out of like 10 phases of our roadmap. Most projects are still like phase 1, phase 2. So we're gonna find out like in a few months how, like, who are the people who are still gonna stay, right? And this is also important for founders too. Like, if you don't truly believe in something you're doing with this community, after 6 months of working with them, you're probably gonna get tired and just be like, why am I here? Like, I don't want to talk to these people. um, you know, and then it's really bad at that point, because it's just like a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, at that point, it's like they've paid with their time and like real money, and then like now you just like, your interest faded away about like whatever that was that you thought it was. And that's the scary thing with um, people who don't have business experience. Because I, like myself, I got into business early on, like first year or second year. I got into it because I had a friend who was driving a Ferrari, and I thought that's what business people do, right? So the first 2 years, I was just like really chasing that, right? Thinking that's what I'm gonna do. And first 2 years, I think in business, I barely made money. Um, now like it's cool, like, I pay for like all expenses of my parents, cool cars, like everything. But like, very beginning, that's really bad reason to be in it. Because I mean, it's not a bad reason, maybe that's how some people start, but like, it doesn't it's not going to make you wake up every day, be excited, right? So then if it's just like a cash out of, let's say, whatever dollar amount it is, eventually it gets like, you're like past it, you're like, okay, made that much money, whatever that was, and then I can't wait, not to talk to these people anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah.
That's such an important thing. Like, I've been thinking about this so much lately,
Yeah.
because you can only make so much money to where any more money on top of that, it doesn't really add happiness or like anything necessarily like intrinsic of value to your life. Like,
Yeah.
you have the things you want, you have the income you want, you're not struggling. And I mean, I feel very lucky to even be able to think about this kind of stuff, right? But it's like, okay, well, then what are you really doing? Like, why are you even really doing these things?
Yeah.
And do you think, my question then is, do you think it's important for people, or possible for people, to think about what they really want before they get to the point of knowing that their bills are covered? Because the situation that we've been talking about is okay, you do a you're like totally starving, you have no money, you do a PFP project, you make 5 mil, and then you're like, oh my god, now I don't have to worry about money anymore. But it's like, what do I really care about? It's almost like you're a guy, you go to a bar, you make promises to a girl, you say you love her, y'all have a night together, and then the next day you don't call back because you got what you want. It's
Pretty
like,
much.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that
Yeah.
sucks. That
And
totally
then
sucks.
and the NFTs are like your babies. Like,
Right.
like now you have to deal with those. You know?
Right.
So so that's actually real. That's actually a real that's actually a real thing, because I actually found that like the concept of like thinking through things is missing. Like a lot of people, again, like it's just a lot of hype. Everything's just hype. Honestly, social media, everything is hype. And so like people coming into things just expecting instant gratification. And then just to your point, um, I think, I mean, I would say I'm still very interested, like my, I can say this, like my thing with like revenue is like make $1 billion company. Like that's my goal. And so all the way to get there is going to be like lots of different milestones and so on and so forth. But I've already hit that point where I'm like, I need like a really good reason and like really good clients, like really good people around me, like whether it be relationships, whether it be like friends, everything has to be great because it's just a lot of work, right? And so if it's not amazing, if it's the project that I'm working on is not app like it's not the best thing, like it's just not worth it, like so I think it's really cool that like if a founder just comes in, and I have some of those, like for example, it's really fun, like Frogos, the founder I speak with, so we sold that in 7 minutes. um I never I don't think I've ever told him this, but literally like we get on a call to talk about marketing, and like what we're gonna do. And this guy spends like half of this just talking about how handsome the frogs are. And then literally like we're just like listening to him, and it's like, have you seen this one? And then about this one? And I'm like, you're just so excited about your thing. And that's like, it's really cool. And so like that is really exciting. And then it's interesting because so I hold NFTs from it, but also like my sister does. So on the reveal day, like my sister literally called me for half an hour talking about how like handsome the frogs are, right? So like, so I think it's just that like that gets across to the community, right? So now he has like a community of people just like that, right? They have some of them. We just did a survey of the holders. We've got a lot of people have like 10 or more NFTs, right? And so it's really important, just the environment, the people you're with, everything, you just absolutely love it. Like nothing about, hey, like this is like just okay, like let's just do it, and then whatever, we'll just do it like as a trial thing. It's like it's really bad idea, because you really stuck with them. Like those people are just really there, and you know and then at worst they're gonna call you a rug pull if you leave. At best they're just gonna be like disappointed, like if that's like that's the plan and you do absolutely love it. And I don't mean like, I mean, there are certain days about like my work, like I mean, most of the times I actually do like love it. But there's certain times I'm just like, it's just work, maybe you don't want to do it, like it's just like workout, like maybe just like, oh, legs day. You know what I mean? But those are also things that's just sometimes missing in the founders, because they've never done anything like this before. They never built a business. And so they don't know that, like, hey, the excitement fades away. What are you going to do after that?
That's right.
So yeah.
I love that question of what are you going to do after that? I
Yeah.
mean, that's a yeah, that's an amazing question, because it is very, very freaking true.
Right.
Um, so I'm curious then, your goal is to build $1 billion organization.
Mhm.
Okay, let's say you get it, and by all means, I totally believe in you. I totally think you're gonna get
Yeah.
there. Well, what's the purpose? What's the dream? What's gonna keep you
Yeah.
going then?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think like up to six figures, seven figures, it was all about um, like we need to actually make money, like But now it's like it's more of standard. It's like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, like before I die, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so I don't think it's been done in my family, not that I know of, and so like not even like a few generations above. So I I just want to set that standard, be like, hey, this is how we do things. You know what I mean? So that it just literally came from conversations from people who are in that place themselves, and then they're world class in whatever they do, and then we just like I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is the number. It's just made up. It's completely made up.
But it seems like so okay, so you it seems like initially you were starting it because all right, got to make some cash. This is a really good spot. Did you have a knack for marketing before you started to get really involved with NFTs and startups? And it seems like
Yeah.
you went from then startups to NFTs. Like, what was that whole transition like?
Yeah, so I guess I'll tell you about like how I got into cryptos as well, because that's a big reason why I have a lot of determination into just doubling down in this industry. So I mean, I was already in marketing, but 2016, a really good friend of mine, Nick, he um, he's like, so he was working a 9 to 5 job, and we were in LA back then, and then I was seeing him all the time on his phone. He had all these like cool graphs on his phone that I didn't know what they were at the time. And then he would just continuously he was just so distracted by everything else and just focused on like just what was happening on his phone. So anyways, I asked him and found out, okay, so he's just all about like bitcoins at that point, right? And then he sold his car. He wasn't an entrepreneur, so it's actually very brave to do things like that. So he sold his car. He cut down on going out. He cut down on everything he had, sold like spent every saving that he had, sold everything he owned, and turned it into bitcoins. And then at that point, I was like, wow, like awesome, but hopefully you're gonna be okay. You know what I mean? So that's like how you feel about your friends.
And
And then
when was this? What year was this?
2016.
Wow.
Yeah. And then so and then I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I ended up leaving LA, so I wasn't just around him for some time. And then I call him and I'm like, "Hey, how's work?" And he goes, "What work?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "It's like no longer working." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Just he made a lot of money, and he just doesn't have to." And then
Wait,
and then,
wait. We don't have to know numbers, but
yeah.
do you know how many multiples he experienced?
I don't know. And to me, like, so there was a bunch of, I guess my reaction, first of all, was like, I was like, oh, wow, okay. I didn't expect that, right? So I completely like not expecting it, right? So because if I did, I would have done the same, right? If I just believed in it that much, I would have done the same. I kind of was like, this is one of those like fads, like it's just like out there. Um,
Hmm.
and then um, and then so then that was my first reaction, but then also like obviously super happy for him because he's like a really good friend of mine, and then I just wanted him to be able to do whatever he wants, and that's really cool. And then the next thing I thought about was like, wow, I totally missed out. Like this was right in front of me, and then I didn't do anything about this. So back in 2021, now I already have worked with lots of public companies with their investor relationship marketing. And the so for someone who doesn't know what that is, basically the job is I guess the role is literally finding short-term and long-term investors online that would be interested in that public company, whatever that company does, and then essentially invested in it until like the stock price goes up, if they want to flip, or if they just want to hold on for the rest of their life or whatever, right? So that was my role, and I was spending a lot of money, like I would say, let's say 500K plus a month, on advertising for these companies, right? And so first of all, to me, that was like first time ever I was just seeing, wow, this is how this works, this is really cool. But then I and it's also like interesting, like insider information in there. Like as a marketer, I could not like invest all the time, because obviously I was just changing things and I had information. But that's not the case in NFT. Like as an NFT marketer, I can invest whenever I want. So that's really cool. But anyway, so I had that knowledge, and then 2020, end of 2020 and beginning of 2021, that's where I was introduced to NFTs by a friend of mine here. Actually, we were working on a project on actually a startup, and then he told me about it. And then first time I heard it, I was like, it's okay. But and then I learned about it again, like maybe through a video or YouTube video, whatever it was. But this time I really got it. And I was like, this is gonna be that next Bitcoin that I missed out on. Right. So then I just full force went into it. And
Wait.
yeah.
What clicked for you? What was the thing that lit up where you were like, oh, that's the thing?
Okay, so there were a few things. One of them was that I realized that, first of all, like COVID was happening, right? And so I realized, I was like, this is going to be a huge change in how things are done, right? A lot of people are going to be staying at home. We don't know until when. Um, and a lot of people are going to learn about social media when they didn't have to, or maybe didn't have the time. Now they're also going to be on social media doing a lot more things than they used to. So I realized, I was like, and I had actually clients. So public companies, they were totally fine. They were just like, we just did another round of investment. We're going to be absolutely fine. And so they had like zero troubles. Smaller business that I was working with at the time, they were calling me left and right. They're like, we don't want to do anything. We just want to stay home and just be afraid, basically. And then so then I realized there's going to be a huge change coming, right? I didn't know exactly what it's going to be, but I realized there's going to be a different way people do things. Like it's going to impact the currency. It's going to impact like how we do our daily lives, right? So certain industries going to go out, certain industry going to come in, so on and so forth. And so the concept of NFTs, where I was like, okay, this is based out of based on cryptocurrencies, and then also like it's giving something to people, like to the artists, that they didn't have in the past. Like now they can instantly trade. They can get royalties for the rest of their life for the art that they own. They can actually make a lot more money than they used to. It breaks that stereotypical like broke artist kind of thing. So I could see all of those things. And I was like, this is actually a really cool idea. And I want to get into it. So first thing I started with was actually buying NFTs. I didn't even know what NFTs are. Literally, if you would ask me like what NFTs are, I would be like, I don't know, but I have some. And then so I bought them, and then I could see the pricing just changing so quickly. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And then I spoke with a bunch of founders, and then they were saying like, we were spending like, let's say 30K a day on this thing. And like, I'm like, what? Like you have that much money? Like that's crazy. And then, so I realized, I was like, okay, there's obviously a lot of people, like a lot of whales are in this. So this was my clue for just be like, okay, I gotta go there. Like that's a good place to be. And then it wasn't until October 2021 when an artist from Italy approached me, and then he's like, he has this. So he's not even well known. I mean, he's awesome. I love him, but he's not well known at all. And then he had, so he was doing a lot of paintings and drawings, but then he created 10 digital arts. So nothing like 10,000 or any of that, like nothing like computer generated, and actually zero utility. And then honestly, no roadmaps, no website, nothing. We just had a Twitter page and an OpenSea, and I didn't know better. So I was like, I guess that's what you're trying to sell. So what I do best is just run ads to directly to that OpenSea. I mean,
Through what?
actually, to OpenSea.
No. Through what? Where'd you run the ads from?
Oh, that was Twitter ads.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then so I mean, I didn't know. Oh, so here's what happened also. Like, I didn't know that I cannot run ads directly to a platform that we don't own, like OpenSea. But then I think he said something like someone else done it. And then, or like, it's possible. So he just told me for some reason, it convinced me that it's a thing. And I was like, okay, if you say so, like, we'll do it, that kind of thing. And then we did it and it worked. He sold out his project. And then I was also shocked myself. I was like, wait, we just spent a few $100 and then you made like 10K, 20K, something like that. And then, so anyways, it wasn't anything like in a millions or crazy. But to me, I was like, okay, this is interesting. So we just found investors with Twitter ads that they went to this page and they bought a bunch of art. They didn't know anything about this guy. This guy is not well known. He doesn't have a large following. That's really interesting. And then, so that was a proof of concept for me to just say, hey, like I already know about NFTs. Been trading, and looks like I just had like one that sold out. So I want to do more. And then I opened up a gig, like literally just like a bunch of different places. I said, hey, this is what I do. First month, I believe I worked with somewhere around, let's say, 100 NFT projects. And then, since then it's more like 400-ish NFT projects till now. And I turned out a lot. Like at the beginning, I was taking out everyone because I was like, this is so cool. I make money, and then these guys coming in too. But then now it's just like, wait, like if these guys are a rug pull, I'm screwed. So like,
Mhm.
I have to actually leave money on the table, and I do like plenty. It's I was telling people in my Discord yesterday, like I leave plenty of money on the table just because of that. But yeah, so like I had that proof of concept, and then I started working with people, and then we were getting results because I just literally, I remember at the beginning they were telling me like the mint day and like the floor price, things like that. And I was like, I don't even know what that means, but like, who are we targeting? What's the product? And then like, are they gonna be like newbies? Which platforms are they gonna be on? So on and so forth. Just like marketing any products and service, right? That's what I had knowledge on. But also I had like investor relationship marketing, so I knew a lot about investors. So for example, we had Gary, the long-term investor avatar, and then Max, the millennial, the short-term investor. So like we knew like exactly like what kind of messaging works best for each, what to do with them, like how to nurture them so they buy and hold, so on and so forth. So I had that knowledge, and then with that proof of concept, I just doubled down. I went completely into it, and um, was really like, I still have like two like SaaS companies I work with, but literally like 100% of what I do is just NFT marketing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how many I don't know if it's possible to quantify in dollars, but if you could try to quantify the sales that you've generated across all the customers you've worked with, like how much, what sort of volume do you think you've moved with it seems like you're in the thousands, or it seems like you said 400 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much volume do you think you moved?
Honestly, it must be so much. I just just the founders, like on the mint day alone. We're not talking royalties. We're not talking like the volume of like the project itself. Just the mint day alone, the smallest have been somewhere around, let's say, half a mil. So it's, I mean, you just multiply just half a mil by 400. Like it's not a lot of money. Yeah, and
Wait a
that's just like
second.
mint
I have
day.
my
Yeah,
calculator here.
yeah.
I got to do that.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
half a
what?
million
Yeah.
times 400.
What
That's
is that?
that's a lot of zeros.
Yeah. Like, what is that even?
That's three, two, 200 mil, 20 mil, 200 mil. between 20 to 200 million of
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah. It's probably more actually.
200 million.
You sure?
Yes.
400? Okay, cool.
400 times 500,000. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
cool. Yeah, 200 mil. Yeah, so that's just on the mint date.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, like, that's just like the lowest we went with, right? So, for example, like lots of projects, they made 5 mil, 7 mil. So,
So it's way above that.
yeah, but just,
But we'll call it 200
yeah,
mil.
yeah,
Just a
200 mil.
just a conservative
Yeah,
200
yeah, yeah,
m's.
exactly. On the mint, on the just mint date. Yeah. And like
That's
not considering
amazing.
royalties, yeah, which is like, anywhere from 3 to 10%.
So when
Yeah.
you work with these people and they sell 500,000 on mint day,
Yeah.
do they come to you? Do they come to you and they're like, "Dude, you literally just changed my life"? Like, what's the reaction for these folks?
It's actually really interesting. So some of them, they just they like change people. So they're completely changed people. Like they've never. I mean, it's also interesting because I've obviously been in business for like number of years. So I remember like I had to try so hard to get to where I'm at right now, right? But like these guys that literally came in like 6 weeks later, then they making millions of dollars. And so I honestly I just love it. Like I think it's like really cool that they can do this, but it's really interesting. Their manner has changed, like the way they talk, the way they communicate, what they're focused on in life has changed. And then I mean I have lots of testimonials, like like that was on Twitter space a few days ago. And then I didn't even know, like someone from my program just came on and he's just like went on a rant just talking about like how like his life has changed, how it's like the direction of his project has changed, so on and so forth, for better. Like he sold out in 37 minutes. And then he was just like telling people, and he was like, Arvin didn't pay me. And I was like, yeah, bro, like I would, but like I didn't pay you, like you know what I mean. And so like I have like lots of these people just coming in and just like telling me how like their life has changed, and they didn't believe that they can do it sometimes, and then like they completely like KO'd the industry. Is super cool. But on my end, for me it's just, I guess that's the biggest thing I get at this point. It's just seeing they sell out. That makes me happy. You know, because I already have like lots of people, like a lot of platforms, they know me to just come to me for NFT marketing. So like getting new clients is not really like cool anymore. um, but um, but the concept of, hey, like someone else just did this and like they sold out, like that's actually really cool. And then some of them, they still like raising the floor price. So for example, I think San Vegas Casino Club, they went from 0.07 on the mint day, now they're at 0.3 something. So it's cool, like they're growing. And then they're doing all sorts of cool things, building. I think they just bought a new land in like Decentraland. They do cool things, so I really like it. And then I think lately also I've just been really picky with who I pick, like as a project that I work with. So I actually enjoyed a lot more. Like on Zoom calls, we're just like laughing and having a good time. Like it's fun.
So
Yeah.
when you're looking at a project now,
Mhm.
what are some of the telltales that, one, get you interested, but two, you're like, oh yeah, we can knock it out of the park? Like what are, yeah.
Yeah. So I think um, if so lately it's just been a lot of just like legends and like world class artists, and like I mean people that I just want to just enjoy, like even if they say like work for free, like I would like that kind of projects. And so just because, like for example, one of them, this guy, I watched one scene from his movies like probably a million times. And then like I can like literally just say like exactly the everything in that scene, like literally all like lines, right? Just because I've watched this so many times, it's just so like inspirational for me. And so to be able to like work with that project, for me, that's actually a really cool thing. um and it's just because of the NFT. I did not see that coming. Like I didn't think like I'd be able to like work with these people. So it's like actually really cool for me to be able to do that. But so that's as far as like mostly like what projects I pick up. But as far as the um as far as the utilities, sometimes these are so huge, like as far as the communities, like 10 million, 20 million followers and so on and so forth, where they don't need a lot of utilities. But then what they provide is, for example, their fans, they get to like spend maybe some time with them, if they're holders, or like things like that, which is also like really cool. Like they're so loved by people, so people would love it, to just buy whatever from them. But also, there was one project I saw. So I think that may leave an impression for some people, saying like these guys, they can just do whatever and they still sell out. And it's not the case. There is this really, I can't give identifications like on the like projects because people will find out. But like there's this project done by someone who you would think like he's so well known in the entire universe that like if you can't believe like he can't sell out his project, right? So it's just like because it's just such a large community, but they've missed certain steps in their marketing that has them. So for example, I was talking with them yesterday, and then they were saying like, I was like, so how many whitelisters did you have for this project? And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's like, oh, we didn't have any whitelisters. I'm like, huh? Like, how did you like, what did you expect was gonna happen? Like, they're like, well, we didn't know. We thought we're just gonna sell out. And it's like, no, that's not the case. So certain things they just thought, they just thought like, well, we don't have to do those things that everyone does. We should be fine, right? But
Lazy,
that's yeah,
lazy.
exactly. But that's not the case. And I've actually, unfortunately, I'm on a lot of calls with consulting calls with projects where I tell them specifically, I say, do not go through with this mint day, push it, like you're not ready. And they're
Mhm.
like, no, 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 we feel like, and it's really weird. I don't know how they feel this way, but they're like, this is how they word it. They're like, we feel like we're gonna crush it. I'm like, I really don't feel that way, but I mean, if you want to do it, you know what I mean? And so, uh, and it's like unfortunate because when they fail first time, it's just really hard to come back from that. And then um, and so, but a lot of people like this is, or maybe I just see way too many people. Maybe I have, because maybe it's exaggerated for me, but it happens very often where people have these feelings about like how they don't have to actually do the work, and then they will just somehow sell out. And it's really bad because they're so close to their project, so close to their like product or like art, they think it's just the best. And it's awesome to feel that way, but then like you gotta have like reality checks. And so yeah, like literally, I would say even like this week, I probably spoke with at least 5 or 6 different NFT projects. I told them specifically, I said, hey, you're not ready. And they're still gonna go through it. Like they're still gonna go through the mint date. And like what can you do? Like, I mean, I tell them. But yeah, so that's definitely happening. But then to answer your question, so like the things that I lit for is, okay, if it's not like complete legend and like it's just like dream for me to work with, it's okay. So do they are they making like weird promises to people that they cannot deliver on? Like they say like, hey, we've never done anything online, we barely even know what NFTs are, and then we just want to say like we're gonna build metaverse larger than Sandbox, for example, right? And so it's like, okay, maybe you can, but do you know how? Like, do you have any plans, or do you just like, is this just like ambitious like thinking, which is fine. Like I think people should do that, but then like that doesn't mean like people should invest in that kind of thinking. You know what I mean? So they need to back it up with something. So I really go for that. Like, I'm very careful what promises they make to people, because then if if they're not going to actually deliver, it's not good for me, because I vouch for them for on platforms to run NFT ads. So for example, Twitter, you can't run NFT ads until someone like myself, who has a partnership, like agency partnership with Twitter, essentially vouches for your brand, right? So then if I do it and then they end up being rug pull, it just looks bad on me.
Right.
And so those are some big things. And then obviously, like, their budget, their business experience, their team. Probably most important thing is their team. Like, I invest in really in like the people. So if I see, for example, like, I send them a message, they don't read it, and then they just like ask me questions that was like literally in what I just wrote to them, that shows me like that's how they operate. So I'm already just like, this is probably not a good one. And like those little things, right? So like how they operate, there's a saying, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I really believe in that. If they're just rushing it, how they talk to me about their project, or like, and this is like another one that I get a lot. So on a daily basis, people message me about one or two paragraphs about how amazing their project is. And then here's the kicker. They say their project is different than everyone else. And like it's like the most unique, and like no one else has it. And I'm like, I have like five people just like yours, like in exact same idea in my program. And I'm not like the only like NFT, person. So it's like, people, I think, like sometimes just like that reality check is missing, like, for people, you know what I mean? Like they just they just like feel like, oh, my art is the best thing ever, like no one's done this before. It's like, no, really, like there are 10 other people done this. Like, you just didn't do research, you just didn't bother. So like,
Right.
yeah, so things like that. It's like, okay, like how do they operate, how to communicate, is this like really fun to work with them, and then do they have like a track record, and then what are some goals they have? Are they thinking past the first mint? Like, do they have anything actually of value? The utilities, the artwork. Yeah, those are some of the things that I check. Unfortunately, I can't really check how they do like their smart contracts yet, or like if there are loopholes in it, or if they're like, um, things that just like red flags. I don't know about those yet, and sometimes I don't even have time to just like completely like researching them online. But that would be nice if I could.
So you're really looking at people and you're like, all right, if these people give me a good vibe, that's kind of like the first litmus test. And then, okay, if they give me a good vibe and they have some of these other things in place, rock and roll. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, and maybe it's part of your secret formula. So maybe we
Hmm.
could just do high level, but like,
Hmm.
what are you doing differently than everybody else when somebody's trying to launch their
Cool.
NFTs? Like, what do you do differently? What's
Cool.
the yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, typically, so the plan that I have, is typically anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. And then now in this plan, first week, I like to, first of all, I like projects that are doxed, because it makes it easier to, at this point. Maybe last year it was okay if they didn't reveal their identity, but now it's not, because a lot of influencers don't work with them. And then, so it just makes it hard. So I like it if they're docs. And then first week, I like to get their messaging like very crispy clear, and then launch Instagram, Twitter ads, those two. And I'll tell you more about those in a second. And then also have influencers lined up. Now, the way that works is you have to, like, real influencers, the one that actually have value. You have to contact them first week, because it takes about 7 days for them to actually review your projects. They have their own ways of actually vetting projects. And then when they said, yes, we want to work with you, obviously you got to pay them. And then there's going to be another 7 days for them to create content. So it takes time, right? So the sooner you start with them, the better. And then, so that's what we do first week. Now, as far as Twitter, The reason I use Twitter is because I like to grow following on Twitter and also engagement. And then per follower, we pay somewhere around 50 to 80 cents to grow following on Twitter. And then we want to
those
hit.
are organic people, right?
Oh, these are real NFT people, like actual have like interest in NFT. Like we actually look at their profiles. They have something to do with like, hey, I like this project, or like maybe they're like into Web3 already, like doing something in there, So, and the way we know that that's the case also. So I typically target on Twitter, I typically target followers of a specific projects that we think is going to be relevant to ours, right? So let's say, for example, for Woman of Crypto, we targeted followers of World of Woman, right? Because we were like, okay, these guys already been in some projects similar, so they're going to be interested, right? And so that's how we grow our following, actually, like from starting from actually other projects. And then we go into, okay, so like maybe if they have an interest in, let's say, cryptocurrency, or if they have an interest in NFTs. So they have to have something. It's not just like random people from some random countries that are just coming in, becoming a follower, because they're not going to buy. Like it's very serious thing to think about. Like they have to actually be potential buyers. And then for Twitter also, we're looking for engagement of 0.5% minimum. And so engagement is defined as just clicking on your post, could be commenting, liking, retweeting, all of that. So that's as far as Twitter. And then a lot of these followers, if they see, so they're typically looking for on your bio, looking for your website. They find their way into Discord. They join your Discord too, so that's awesome. But then for Discord alone, specifically, I like to have Instagram ads, and then also influencers. So the way that works is on Instagram, we take people sometimes directly to the Discord, sometimes to a website, and then to Discord. So initially we were taking people to Discord because not everyone was doing it, like back in, let's say, November-ish. Now, because so many people doing it, so then we actually take people to a website, because there we can actually show why people need to join our Discord. So that's really important. It's like, okay, so like you get maybe giveaways. There are like specific benefits to being in Discord, or like maybe the community is like really cool, and whatever reason there is. And then so we want to see, what I really like to do with projects lately is to like, even first week, I want to have like a big like push of people coming in. So like, let's say 10,000 people coming in first week, like that kind of thing. Because then you set a standard for actually a successful mint. And it's really important because, and to just people have comparison. Like if you gaining, let's say, 8 members a day on your Discord, that's exactly what's going to look like on your mint day too. Like you get every maybe hour, you get like 10 people minting, and that's not good. That's actually scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's really scary. As a founder and also as a marketer, I would just pull my hair out. Like that's really scary. And so that's the standard we like to hit. And then second week we change things up. So now it's about, like, we've already built things. So now the messaging changes to just showing that we have already engagement on Discord. We already have engagement on Twitter. And then I didn't mention this, on Discord, we want to have 3 to 5 times the number of collection size. And so let's say if it's a 10,000 collection size, we want to have at least 30 to 50,000 people. And we're banking on, let's say, 30% of them buying NFTs, right? And then, so the focus really is to build Discord and Twitter. And then really, like, the reason behind all of that, like really the main goal is to actually build your whitelist community. So you want to have about half of the size of the collection size in whitelist. So this is how some of the projects I work with, like in 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 1 hour, 37 minutes, we sold out. It's just because whitelisters just like wiped out the entire collection. And then we just had maybe like, I don't know, 100 maybe to mint. And then on public sale, maybe even like some person just comes in, buys the rest of it, or like maybe a bunch of people come in, buy 10 each, done, right? And then it's like 7 minutes, we sold out. And so Mid marketing, what we'll do was just show with a video what it looks like in their Discord, what it looks like on their Twitter, and what their artwork looks like, and also what their utility looks like. And then we just that's going to be our marketing. That's what the marketing looks like from that point on. And then 5 days before the mint day, so this is the difference between a pro and a newbie. 5 days before, typically five days before the mint date, typically the pros, now they're like, go time, now we're gonna go hard. And then newbies, they just say, well, we're tired, so we're gonna rest now. I mean, I've had people like do weirdest things like this. um I still don't know why, but like this brand, literally the founders, they just like they moved. And I'm like, you could have moved like any other time during this year. Like, why did you do it like right now? And so like they do things that just makes no sense. I
Right.
literally have like in a marketing sheet, like I have like a one sheet marketing for NFTs. I have like 5 days before. There's like a bunch of things they need to do. I'll tell you in a second. But one of them is just like eat well, sleep well, don't make weird decisions. Like, so like, because they do. Like, it happens all the time. Um, and like this is the time when founders they have like a lot of these feelings about like how things gonna go, and it's just like most of the times it's completely off. It's like, I feel like if I do this, it's gonna be good. It's like, no, 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 don't do it. Like, or I feel like, if we just like stop the ads, we can save some more money and we can just like use it later. Like, it's like really bad ideas come through at exactly that time. And so, anyways, on 5 days before, we do this thing called like a tease. So we say 5 days left, 4 days left, and we're still building our whitelist community. So we're still like giving away whitelist, or we say, hey, like if you do this thing and that thing, we give you a whitelist spots, so on and so forth. And then if you have an influencer that worked really well, we unleash them again. We say, hey, like do another maybe integrated video or another dedicated video for us. And then now going into the mint day, then we incentivize people to go fast. So these are little details of how you do things that makes a difference between a complete fail and like completely like successful project. So like if, for example, you notice that community's conversation is just like, well, it's cool, like maybe I meant like in a few hours, like that kind of stuff, that's not a good thing. You want the vibe of the community to be like, if I don't mint now, I'm done. Like it's the end of the world
Extreme
for me.
FOMO.
Yeah, extreme FOMO. And that's really helpful. It's not like at that point, like I mean, it's not about being like not being humble. It's just like really like you work so hard, you need to be successful at that point, and so you must be like that. And so yeah, so those are like some of little things that you got to do. Like just check out the conversation on your server insights, just see like what's the readership of let's say the announcement channel is like, and if it's low, like you need to fix it. If it's high, that's good. Certain things, like if you see a lot of newbies that are in your Discord, you need to have a like a university for like a newbies how to mint. Like they need to know with videos, PDFs, maybe I don't know, books, whatever they need. Like they need to know how to mint. You have no idea. Like I've seen projects where on the day of the minting, like hundreds and hundreds of tickets come through. People talking about it's like, I tried to mint, but like I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. And so that person, they tried, but like it's not like they're not that invested in this project, right? So there's like somewhat invested, obviously they tried, but then typically like that person would be like, I couldn't figure it out on time, so like now I'm gonna do, I don't know, wash dishes and then watch some movies, and then that's it. Like that's that day gone, and then like the mint day was that day, and so like you just lost that person, right? So people don't think about these things again. Like they think like everyone's just so excited about their project and they have nothing else to do that's better than their project, which is not the
Right.
case. Like people have their life, they have kids, they have school, work, so many things happen. So if it's not like simple for them to actually execute, you lost them.
And
Um,
time zones. They may have stayed up till like 3 in the morning, and if they
yeah,
can't figure it out,
just fall
I'm going
asleep.
I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, and then that's done. Like, and then you have enough of those people, like your project will fail.
Mhm.
Or like let's say website crashing. I still don't know how this happens still, all my projects that sold out, their website crashed. And then, and like lately, I've just been telling people like million times, be like, hey, did you get the enough bandwidth? Are you gonna do a DDoS on your website to make sure it's not gonna crash? Like, let's say drive like 50 million traffic into it, make sure it's not gonna crash. Let's say so there's a website, there's like your mods going to be available, right? So if there are tickets, they're going to take care of people. Let's say like there could be other projects claiming to be you, and then they could just be selling while you're trying so hard to like build your community. They're actually selling your like fake things to your people. What do you do then? Like, do you go refund like the money to your community so they can buy the real ones, or like are you going to be like screw them? Like what, those like little things on those few days, that's just makes a huge difference
Critical.
on project being successful, not being successful. So I just crammed as many things as I could.
Yeah. I was about to say, I know you're a busy man and we're a little bit over time here. But yeah, that's amazing. I feel like you just dropped so much value for the people that, one, it's inspiring, and I think a lot more people are going to be like, all right, I want to launch my own project. Now I know how to do it. I have the roadmap. But also, I want to make sure that everybody can take action. So maybe what we do is maybe we start wrapping up now, and then in the future, especially when you could tell me who your action hero is, come back on and we can do maybe a part 2 to this.
Cool.
Yeah, man, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course.
And it feels a little abrupt, but again, I want to just make sure that we can just soak all of this up. And I would highly suggest everybody listen through a couple of times and just like go through everything step by step, because you basically gave us a roadmap. So to wrap us up here, and again, I'm incredibly grateful that you did share your time with with myself and everybody listening and watching today. One last piece of alpha. It could be life. It could be trading. It could be NFTs. Anything, whatever it is. What you got first?
Yeah. I would say for NFT collections that they're trying to be successful, just go read case studies of like how other people like just like yourself have been successful. Just like model them. Like, even so, a lot of people ask me, they're like, what influences should be used? I'm like, find a project that's like similar to yours, see what influences they use, and they've been successful. Just use the same ones, just contact them and just use them. Why would you like reinvent the wheel, right? So I think I may be simplifying things like a lot, but really, like, if you just find some like projects that you that they've been successful, and then you just do everything they've done, you're definitely on the right track. I mean, maybe you need to change a few things, like not completely just copying it, but you can figure out. And I have plenty of those like case studies. Like, if people want to just like read and just see how some of these projects sold out, like on soldoutnfts.io, they can literally find these case studies with like what numbers of Discord they started with, like what did they do on like their ads, like all sorts of like little details of things. So just read case studies and then execute. Just model successful people.
And I would just like to point out, a lot of the successful people are hiring you. So I would consider hiring you if they have the opportunity to, because 200 million in sales speaks for itself. And the all the other stuff, the case studies and whatnot, definitely speaks for itself. So anyways, you're the man. Thank you for coming on the show today. And let's do a part 2 soon. Appreciate you coming on.
Of
And
course.
yeah, rock on, people.